Hi, everyone. This is Deanna Kosaraju with Global Tech Women. Welcome to Voices 2015. For those of you who are new to Spreecast, I just want to do a couple of housekeeping items here to let you know how to use Spreecast while we're doing this session. First of all, there's a chat window over here on the right-hand side where you can chat with one another as well as ask questions. And you have to be logged into Spreecast in order to take advantage of that chat window. So I see we have a few visitors here, but if you want to log in, you can then chat with each other as well as ask questions. The second thing I want to let you know is we are going to have a slide deck that's going to display here in about a minute. And you will have to drag and drop that slide deck somewhere on the screen where you can watch the speaker as well as follow along with the slides. So our speaker is going to let us know what slide number she's on so that way we can follow along with her. If you have any issues at all, let me know. If you are not using the chat window, you can email me at deanna@globaltechwomen.com and I will monitor my email and answer any questions that anyone might have who's not leveraging the chat window. So with that, I'd like to introduce our next speaker. She is going to be speaking about women entrepreneurs in the startup space. And this is a passion of mine as an entrepreneur. I'm always interested in hearing what's going on in different parts of the world for entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs. So Suseela Panguluri is going to be speaking with us for the next 30 minutes to 1 hour. And we hope that you will join in the conversation and ask questions and tell us about your experiences. And so with that, I'm going to load her deck right now. So you should see it there. You can drag it anywhere on the screen that suits you. And then I'm going to go off air and I'm going to hand it over to her. Suseela, it's all yours.
Thanks, Diana. Hi everyone, this is Suseela. I'm from CSC India. I'm working for the client PayPal. A short introduction about me. I have 9+ years of experience in IT industry and I hold a BTech from National Institute of Technology, Warangal. This is in short about me. And the more exciting part I wanted to share in this short session, maybe I may not take 30 minutes though, I will open up for questions at the end. In this session, I want to share the rich experience that I have gathered in my journey of starting up, both on technical and functional aspects. Although I'm not an entrepreneur yet, I'm trying to reach there. And this is going to be, the emphasis is going to be much on the open source technologies that are used for a startup, that can be used in the startups where you need not spend even a penny. Of course, you have to spend for the parties thrown to the startup team. With that said, let's get started. I'm on the second slide. You can move to the second slide along with me. Yeah, everyone has ideas, isn't it? We have hundreds of ideas. But everyone is struck at how to start that, how to start implementing the idea, how to go live. You have to really come out of that shy box. We should not worry or being afraid of the feedback that you may receive on that idea. Take the first step. I know it's the hardest of all because I have gone through it. Talk to people around you on the problem what you're trying to solve. Get a genuine feedback to start with. Do not always think of the end product. Take the first step first. Now, if you are inspired to be an entrepreneur, you know your strengths and weakness, the assets that you have. Now think of, are there any takers looking for this product that I am trying to build? What are the current alternatives for the product in the market? Give a thought on the market segment you are going to conquer. The market segment is itself a huge topic which I am not going to delve into deep into this session. I will move on to the next one. But last but not the least, to be an entrepreneur, you have to be ready to fail and come over again, regain the strength and start over. Now that if you have decided that you have the best idea and you spoke to 100 people and convinced that this has real market value, what's next? Yeah, I'm going to the third slide. Hope you guys are with me. First, Let's start with the e-commerce mobile app. If you're trying to build an e-commerce, for example, let's take that as an example for this session. Let's start with an MVP, that is minimum viable product, where a prototype can be ready within few days. List out the bare bone features that are really necessary for the product and that could be shipped in the next few months to go. Move all the features that may come in your mind to release 1 or release 2 or further down. For example, in this slide number 3, I have listed for an e-commerce mobile app, the basic features needed is the list of items to be listed and a search button to search over the item that you are trying to buy or sell, and check out how you pay to the seller. So I would like to mention on this slide the Apple's product strategy. They believe in the principle that build a product that one person loves it rather than 100 people just liking it. Be ready to make such a product like where people will go crazy, at least 1 or 2 should go crazy, who are the early adopters who are going to love your product. Having said that, I am moving to the next slide, that is slide number 4. Now that I have listed down the features, what's the next step? Many people jump into development after listing the features, but that's not the right way that I have experienced. You always wear customer shoes. Think like an end user. You start listing down the end use cases. That is, Suseela wants to sell her car on the app. What you have to do for that? She has to log into the app or click on the app. Click on the new button. Then a pop-up comes up where I select the category, let's say car. After selecting the category, the next window would be filling the car details, the model, price, take a pic of it and post. So what you are actually doing with this use case flow, you're actually envisioning the product, what the end user is going to do with it. So there are several tools to draw this. The above diagram which I am showing in slide number 4 is drawn just in 5 minutes using an online tool draw.io. Or if you hate using these kind of tools, you can simply draw it on a whiteboard, take a snap and document it somewhere. Why is this step really needed? The feel of the product comes here. The features needed for the first release can be freezed at this step. So similar other use cases for an e-commerce app would be Subbu wants to search the available bikes for sale, Vidya wants to express interest in the car listed by Suseela, and so on. You'll get a list of use cases. As you get the use cases, right, you're going to zero down to the beta version features. Now that I have known the features that are needed by the customer, I have to start developing at this point. I'm moving to slide number 5. Yeah. The technical stack. For a person who is not from a technical background, the bare minimum layers that are needed for any software to be built or a product to be built is the front end and the service and the back end where it stores data. The front end in our case is going to be display the items and how the user sees the product. And the middle layer is going to be the service which does the business and functionalities. For example, get item list, search items, pay for the item. And the back end which stores the data. These are the bare minimum layers needed, but you can go to 4 layers where you can divide the business layer from the application layer. So as a startup, right, like I'm going to build a product like wherein on the first day I would really not expect 1 million users. So I started with 3 layers, and luckily the technology space has matured so much that everything from development to branding can be done with open source platforms available on the net. Open source software has lowered the computing costs like to zero almost. It was unimaginably tougher to roll out a startup in 1990 when compared to 2010. Hope you all agree with me on that. We are actually in a golden era of software development where open source softwares are available for each and every work of development that can be done to build a product. Now that you have known those are the 3 layers that I need to build, what are the resources that are needed to build that layers? How many developers or where I should host, what is the cost of the infra, marketing, branding. So I would be walking you through the technologies that we have chosen and the various open source technologies available to build a startup product. I'm going to slide number 6. Yeah, here on this slide, I'm talking about the front end, that is a UI that user is going to see. Uh, for this, right, my team was a 5-member team to build this product, whatever I have said. Although it is not a mobile commerce app, it's a different app. We were a 5-member team and we were discussing each layer what I should choose. During that, the easiest decision is on this layer because targeting an Indian mobile app users, the number of Android users were the most. It's nearly 80%. So the decision was pretty easy for us to choose Android for the mobile app development. So front end was done. Now I'm moving to the 7th slide. Now choice of the middle layer. This is where we have spent a lot of time, but at the end, really, let me tell you what was the conclusion that we have made after discussing for 2 weeks. What is the technology that we have to use for the middle stack? To begin with, or to end with, what we have ended is the language you and your developers are most comfortable is the best bet. We have done enormous analysis of choosing the middle layer services, like whether to go for PHP. One of the developer is very strong at PHP in my team, and another is very good at Java. Mostly all of us are good at Java, and the other was mediocre in Python. But we thought, let's go with the language that everyone really agrees for. So we all agreed for the Django framework to build it on Python when compared to the Java RESTful services or PHP. For one simple reason, Python was easily adoptable, easily learned. We have learned Python just in a week and we started building it. And similar analysis were done on the database layer, and we have gone for MySQL in comparison with NoSQL or Hadoop, depending on, because we wanted to use RDBMS to start with. Later on in the future releases where analytics and other things are needed, we thought of going for the Hadoop. So do not stress out much for choosing a language is my suggestion over here. As long as you write a code that follows the basic architectural design patterns so that the code can be easily portable to any other language later, it's okay to go with that language. You do not expect your product to have 1 million hits on the first day. So write code that is scalable and maintainable easily in any language. So I have not put few of the things on this slide where, for example, in an e-commerce site, such site where you want to enable the chart between the buyer and seller, the charting, then you need to use some language like Erlang, which is again an open source language to build. And Azure is a service that is readily available, and PubNub is another one, but that is a paid service. So we went for Azure to build the chart service. And depending on the database selection for storing the chart history, there are few other databases which are available for that. And the other features that I haven't mentioned in the MVP are the push notifications. And push notifications, you can go either for Google or Amazon push notifications, and also it depends on which hosting you select for that. I will go in detail in the next slide on that. I'm moving to slide number 8 now. Hope you're all on slide number 8 now. Yeah, cloud or a dedicated server? I think this is not a question to be asked in this era, because cloud is the current thing, that is the future, and it has numerous benefits as I pointed out on the slide, whether it is scalability or reliability or monitoring which comes with the hosting service itself. For all various reasons, cloud is the best choice. Unless you are really rich, you already have a dedicated server where some other product is being launched. Any startup would really look for a cloud service. And we've done an analysis on comparing Amazon, AWS, Google App Engine, and other things that I haven't mentioned in the slide are Heroku. Having compared all of them, right, for various reasons we have went for Amazon Web Services. And one of that exciting reason is the attractive 1 year free trial that it gives for all the users. And it has excellent infrastructure laid out, and the technology that can be installed, it comes bare. The cloud service, once you open the account, it comes bare. You can install your own open source technology, whatever you have chosen for your product development. And believe me, after choosing the technologies, it took me just 2 hours to open an account, Amazon EC2 instance, to create one, to install Ubuntu is the software or OS that we have used, and to install GitHub, Django, MySQL software. So it just took me 2 hours. Yeah, that easy it was, like to host something, to start developing and owning a cloud instance. And try getting Amazon credits, like now and then, like if you go attend some conferences or over the websites, you see Amazon credits for free. Try using those credits. And the other part in the Amazon EC2 instance, apart from that, there is to store the images and other things, even the profile images or whatever posts that were made, like let's say car images for the posts, they can be stored on the S3 bucket, which is part of the Amazon cloud. It comes as part of the free account. So, and there are open source libraries available to access this S3 bucket either directly from the Android mobile app as well as the Django, that is a Python code. The one that I have used is Boto library for Python to access the S3 bucket. And then let me move on to the next slide, that is slide number 9. Yeah, open source projects all the way. Hope in this slide you are seeing what are all the various open source available, and out of which we are right now using Ubuntu and MySQL and Python in our development. In 2014 alone, just to give some important update on that, the Facebook has launched nearly 107 open source projects. And in addition to that, right, to the projects like Cassandra, Thrift, Apache Hive, they're actively contributing to other external projects also. Similar to Boto library that I was saying for the S3 bucket, that was also an open source project. So once you start using the open source, by open source what I mean, you get the whole code and later on you can give back to the society by building that open source code. And as you might be knowing, GitHub, if you go to GitHub, Facebook page of GitHub, you can easily see what are all the projects and how you can contribute to that. And the top-notch companies currently like Twitter, Facebook, Google, they all build their own libraries, build their own softwares and release it to the public like us, like to build on top of it and contribute it back to them. For example, the ones that I have listed from Facebook over here, the React, which is a flexible JavaScript library for building the user interfaces, or take Presto, which is SQL query engine, and HHVM is a virtual machine for executing programs. And the other one is Async Display Kit, which is an asynchronous user interface for iOS apps. So once you start exploring the open source world, you really find you'll exactly bang on like whatever you really need for your startup project. Now that the product is built, and I am on slide number 10. So choose your product testers. Like many say that, right, like let's test with friends and family first, but I really didn't find that to be useful, because you may not be getting a genuine feedback from friends and family. They try to be like genuine, not so genuine with you, because you may get offended. So try out to reach some part of the actual audience that you are targeting to get a genuine feedback. And be iterative in your development, be agile, till you release the beta version. And last but not the least, be ready to fail. If you fail, try to understand what is lacking, what is not appealing on the product, or the product itself is not a useful product. And don't worry, there are people who fail, but in future, right, they're working for a lucrative salary in top-notch companies. So no time is wasted. And yes, I'm done with my presentation. Thank you all. I'm open for questions.
Thank you, Suseela. This is a really interesting presentation.
Hope you guys found it to be useful, helpful.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people who will watch the recording may have questions, so I'm sure they will reach out to you as well. We should make sure that we put your contact information here so that they can reach you.
Diana, your voice is breaking, Diana.
Oh, sorry about that. Can you hear me now? Suseela, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. Sorry about that. So does anyone have any questions? I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast that in order to use the chat window, you have to be logged into Spreecast. Unfortunately, those who are just logged in as visitors, you will not be able to use the chat window. Sorry about that.
Yeah, for some reason your voice is breaking now.
Okay, if no one has any questions, I think we should wrap. So thank you very much for a great session, and you can all watch the recordings, and I hope that you'll watch some of the other sessions that are going on the next couple of days.
Thank you everyone for joining. Hope that is helpful. And if you have any questions, you can even reach out to me in my Gmail, suseela.p@gmail.com.
Thanks, Suseela. I'm going to close now, if you can hear me.
Thank you.
Okay, bye everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.